Movement 1, the armor of intellect and the closed loop. The collection begins with the defensive machinery of the mind. In this early register, the self is treated as a clinical requirements document to be audited, componentized, and controlled. But this cleverness only divides the self from its own body, trapping the mind in repetitive loops and roles learned from childhood. The system's engineer protocol. Divide, componentize, recombine, conquer, divide. The closed cycle of craving. Desire, want, wish, plan, try, cry, fail, fall asleep, wake, desire. The descent of taboo. Naked, nude, lewd, crude, natural. Taboo, artificial cover-up. Shame for body gain with commodity. The prison of the controller. Manufactured shame, it came from the outside like pollen you sneeze. Then it plants the weeds, the nasty seed of shame, like a virus, parasite, and ringworm. It becomes a part of new you, who? Shame on you, shame on me, shame on them. An abundance, surplus of shame, what a fucking shame. You can't run, you can't hide because you are it, remember? The metabolic cure. So what can you do? You can shake it and wake it, you can take it and face it, you can erase it and replace it. It's in there, just another subtle ingredient. Burp, the scripts of identity. I thought I was you. I did not notice me then. I had a name, they called it my identity. Do this, do that, don't do that, do it this way. Learn your lines, learn your roles. Now you think you know who you are or not. Movement 2, interrogating the system and boundaries. Here, the analytical observer begins to doubt his own sovereign perspective. The focus shifts from taking the system apart to asking whether the observer is part of the system. By moving to the boundary where things meet, the rigid structures of judgment begin to yield to the organic dynamics of permaculture. The accusation, the system failed him. Who does the system serve? Who runs the system? What is the system? Is there a system? Where are we in the system? Are we in the system? Are we the system? The grammar of judgment. Judgment, Judas, justice is blind. Fair, ought, should, would, could, change. What is it, won't budge, will it? The smallest scale. Quarks, split, spat, in, out, here, now, gone. The ecology of the edge effect, emergence. Local conditions, shade, sun, water, left, right, squiggle, swirl, twirl. Attractors, pollen, mix and match, spread. Click, clack, bridge match, one idea spawns another. Here, there, nowhere, here, now, gone, later. Movement 3, the mirror of otherness and the encounter. In this movement, the lonely self-reliance loop is shattered. The solitary architect recognizes that a single pair of eyes cannot obtain a complete perspective on itself. Connection is found not. Movement 4, the spiral of wonder and forgetting the map. Here, we encounter the vital breakthrough. When the analytical categories of cleverness fail, surprise is welcomed as wonder. The mind realizes that the perfect structured map of love is not the same as the raw practice of living. Before the poems, one demonstration, a stain on concrete, read 4 times. The argument of this movement performed, rather than stated. Skull. The rounded dark patch at lower right becomes the cranium seen from behind or in 3/4. The bright etched border reads as fractured bone edge, and those small dark voids scattered through the upper mass could be orbital sockets or trepanation holes. The spiky projections off the left side even suggest vertebrae or shattered temporal bone. Same marks, 2 readings, I went botanical, you went memento mori. The leaf ghost interpretation is probably what physically happened. The skull is what the pattern does to a human visual system, tuned by a few 100,000 years of needing to spot faces and remains fast. Neither reading is wrong. One is about causation, the other about perception. There's something fitting about both living in one stain, a leaf that died and left its trace, red as the icon of death itself. The concrete is holding a small Vanitas painting nobody composed. Yes, now I see it immediately. The broad white area forms the cranium, the dark marks become hollow eye sockets, the smaller central mark reads as the nasal opening, and the long pale section below becomes a narrow jaw. It even looks slightly tilted, with the broken upper edge giving it an old, weathered, almost crowned skull shape. That is a much stronger reading than my frog. Once the skull appears, the frog disappears. Classic pareidolia, but a remarkably good one. Yeah, once you see it, it's hard to unsee. That dried bird-dropping stain has a pretty solid skull-like outline if you look at it the right way. The denser white mass forms a rough cranium, and those 2 clearer rounded patches lower down read like eye sockets. Classic pareidolia at work. The irregular edges and the way the residues settle just happen to line up into something that triggers the face-skull detector in the brain. Bird poop plus concrete plus a little imagination equal to accidental Rorschach skull. What strikes me looking at it fresh, there's a 4th reading hiding in plain sight. The whole thing reads as a crowned head in profile facing left. The spiky projections on the left aren't vertebrae, they're the crown or headdress or wild hair. The lower rounded lobe on the right becomes a jaw or throat. The small, dark voids up top become the crown's inset jewels, which means you now have a small stack of readings on the same stain, leaf ghost, the causal one, what physically happened. Frog, the first pareidolic pass now overwritten. Skull Vanitas, memento mori, orbital sockets, jaw, crowned head, regal profile, spikes his crown. Something worth noticing, the skull reading didn't just appear alongside the frog, it evicted it. That's the interesting behavioral fact. Pareidolia isn't additive, the visual system commits. Once a stronger gestalt locks in, the weaker one becomes almost impossible to hold. You can toggle between skull and crowned head with effort, but frog is gone until you deliberately squint it back. There's a small facilitation move buried in this, if you want it. The stain is a working model of how belief attitude commitments behave in a nervous system. The first coherent reading feels like just seeing what's there, the second reading arrives, and retroactively makes the first look naive. And the third reveals that the obviousness of the second was also constructed. Same marks, same concrete. The stain didn't change. The perceiver did 3 times in a row, each time convinced this one is real. A Vanitas the pigeon didn't compose, sure. but also a tiny tatishkots on the sidewalk. It is a leaf, it is a skull, it is neither, it is both, and the ground is just holding still while you cycle through. The open loop of receptive mind. Mindfulness, attention, concentration, comprehension, understanding, surprise, mindfulness, the somatic asymmetry. Me is always there when sad, when I'm glad, I'm just glad, no reason, in any season. The limit of the ledger. Understanding suffering of others, love, joy, life, alive, multiplies, expands, 1, 1, 2 to 2, body, soul, mind, me, you, us all. How to love, I forgot.